It's time for an Out and About with Jamie Grout podcast. And this time around, we'll be talking with Newton Fire Chief Jarrod Wellik about the 9/11 ceremonies they have coming up this Thursday and other things going on with the Newton Fire Department and the EMS services that they provide. But first, a word from our sponsors, including Ryan's Tire and Auto on First Avenue in Newton. If you check out their Facebook page, you'll see a real testimonial from a real customer saying Ryan and Ryan's Tire and Auto are amazing. They say, my daughter got a nail in her tire on our way to Iowa City to move her for school. We randomly picked Ryan's, hoping to get it fixed quickly, and I'm so glad we did. They got it fixed in less than 30 minutes. Thanks, Ryan. That coming from Angie A. And let me tell you, I can tell you they have great service at Ryan's Tire and Auto on First Avenue, Newton. Check them out. Another sponsor is Newton Clinic. Stay healthy this season. Newton Clinic is offering flu and COVID shots on a walk-in basis, Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 5:45 p.m., and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Protect yourself, your family, and your community from Newton Clinic. Another sponsor, Advantage Credit Union.
Financial fitness doesn't happen at the gym. This is your spotter, Ashley from Advantage Credit Union. We'll do the heavy lifting while you gain the power of loan pre-approval. This kind of muscle means you know exactly how much you can borrow for that next vehicle and what your payments will be. Plus, you have 30 days to shop any dealership for your purchase to work out. ACU membership is better than a gym membership because you actually own the place.
Local money, local decisions, local service, and locally owned by you. Subject to credit approval, member NCUA.
It's time for another Out and About with Jamie Grout podcast, and we're with Chief Jarrod Wellik of the Newton Fire Department, and 9/11 is coming up right away, and it came up on my Facebook memories that we did a podcast about that last year, and by golly, we're going to do another podcast about it this year because 9/11 certainly deserves our respect and our honor, and Chief, I understand you're going to do it again this year.
Yeah, we're going to have a ceremony at 5:30 p.m. on Thursday, 9/11. We made a vow to never forget, and it's common. You see that across the country with different departments. There's been a lot of news this week already on TV about it and on the radio. We also, on our trucks, have a decal that says never forget. You know, there was 343 firefighters that lost their lives that day. Pretty sizable chunk of the nearly 3,000 people that were killed. You know, most people run out of buildings when things like this happen. Our people are forced to run into those buildings and try to help people. And so, you know, the loss of life is the single largest loss of life in history for the fire service.
And a lot of people who were heroes who did save lives, too, on that day also. And I heard on the news today that actually because of the effects of 9/11, more people have ended up losing their lives than actually were lost on the day of 9/11 because of the after effects and cancer and all the other things that have happened. So a huge tragedy for sure, Chief.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that worked at the site trying to find survivors and you know, people that were even killed within that. A lot of people that worked on that developed cancer, and they attribute it right straight back to all of the materials. You know, when a building that size comes down and grinds up everything basically that was inside of it, there are lots of nasty compounds that are developed.
Yes, and the only person from Iowa who lost their life also came from Newton on that day too.
Jim Clear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tell us about the ceremony itself coming up Thursday, Chief.
Yeah, so the ceremony is typical. We've done the same thing. I've been here for this going on 14 years, and we've done basically the same ceremony every year. We invite all of our emergency responders throughout the county to come in and join us to kind of remember. We typically have Ron the bagpiper there providing music for us, and it's just a way for us to remember those who have fallen and make sure that we do never forget.
You bet. It's a great ceremony, and there's a statue out in front of the fire department that's here 24/7, 365 days a week that honor those people also. Yeah. That's nice to have out here. 5:30 on Thursday on 9/11.
Correct.
Come on out and don't forget about 9/11. We could never forget about that. Let's talk about the fire department and what's going on here. And again, for those who don't know, and we've talked about this on other podcasts in the past, and I know you've presented at the Newton Rotary Club and other organizations, but you get more EMS calls than you do fire calls.
That's absolutely right. We are labeled a fire department, but we also run ambulance here in the city of Newton and surrounding communities. And last year, we responded to 3,677 calls. Highest number of calls since I've been here. When I came in 2011, we ran just over 2,000 calls. And so you can see that's a pretty sizable increase in the number of calls. Out of those, 90% of those, almost every year, are emergency medical services or EMS calls.
Wow, incredible. Can you tell us what kind of training goes into, kind of separate the EMS and also for the fire department? It goes into both departments there, Chief
Sure.
Wellik.
So our standard, firefighters, we require that they get certified to the level of firefighter 2, which is, there's a couple certifications, firefighter 1, firefighter 2. That takes maybe 6 months to a year to kind of get those in order. The process of going through all of the, the books and so on, and learning all of the different aspects that need to be done. And then here in Newton, since we run the ambulance service, we expect our people to be to the level of a paramedic. Paramedic level takes about a little over a year to complete school-wise. And then, we have our own internal orientation process as well. And so it takes a couple years to get somebody brand new off the street up and running at this.
Okay. What made you decide you wanted to get into this field, Chief?
Way back when I started with a volunteer organization, and my father was part of that organization. I went to college. When I finished up, my wife and I decided to move back to where I'd started. And my father was the one that basically said, look, if you're going to live in the community, you should serve in the community. And he was a great role model for that. He served in a lot of community functions. Mm-hmm. And so I started out, that's been 30 years ago, November, actually 35 years ago in November it'll be. I started as a volunteer, worked my way through that department and all the aspects. And, I think it's always been about community service. It's about helping people. And for firefighters and EMS providers, it's about sacrifice. They're giving up their time to serve and provide services. They'll miss meals, they'll miss family functions, they'll miss lots of different things in order to do this job. It's a very time-consuming, very demanding work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can imagine. And especially in the wintertime, my heavens, when you have the elements to have to deal with, it is quite stressful and terrible conditions to have to deal with. How about staffing? Are you in need of paramedics and firefighters at this time?
Yeah, we always are in need. We have an open hiring. We've worked through that process, and we currently we have a couple openings in the next few months that we'll be filling. We just filled one. We just hired a new firefighter that'll start that process of getting certified as a firefighter and then as a paramedic. In the next 6 to 9 months, we'll be hiring 2 more for sure. We still have some turnover. People have found employment in the Des Moines metro area, and so we still have people that are seeking employment there as well.
Okay, I'm kind of curious, and I don't know. It's a case by case basis, I'm sure. But when you have a big fire that you're dealing with, how do you know at what point to call in, let's say, Baxter or Mingo or a Kellogg or Colfax and that kind of thing to have mutual aid and help you out to fight a fire?
So we decide pretty early when we're going to do that, and some of our dispatch protocols are already set up that way. So if somebody calls and says they can actually see fire, so someone calls and says, I have a fire in my kitchen. Mm-hmm. It's automatic for them to dispatch a couple other agencies immediately. And it just depends on location, where we're at, and what's going on. You know, the beauty of our department here is with people in the station, we're able to get on fires quickly and keep them from growing larger, pretty well. Mm-hmm. When we start asking our neighbors to come in and help us, they have response times, and it takes them anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes before we'll see people. So starting them out early is really important. Every year, it seems like, as we get busier and busier, this year at 3,677 calls, we just went over the 10 calls per 24-hour period. And so that's a lot of responses that we make, especially when you look at it. Most of those calls, the average time is approximately an hour. Mm-hmm. So many of those take, quite a bit of time. And being that busy, there is pretty good chance that I could have an ambulance out, when we get a fire call. So with those things going on, we try to kind of front load the fire calls when we know something is going on, so that we get more people responding.
Now, I'm curious, do you transport patients to Des Moines or to Iowa City and that kind of thing too? Is that just on an emergency basis, or do you do that as a favor to Mercy One? How does that work especially?
Yeah, we do. They're called interfacility transfers, and they're going from this hospital to another hospital. And the people that are being transferred from this hospital are typically still our citizens, and we're still providing service for our citizens. The other piece of it is, we feel like that supports our local hospital, because in order for those patients to get definitive care, they have to go somewhere else. And so we feel a pretty strong tie to help them out to get that done, especially when it keeps the hospital open, because they're still a collection point for those people.
I see. Okay. All right. Well, let's wrap things up, and then we'll do a video on this. But as far as the podcast is concerned, let's again talk about the 9/11 ceremonies you have coming up on Thursday at 5:30. What will happen, Chief?
Yeah. So Thursday at 5:30, we'll have our ceremony where we'll remember those that were killed on that day. And it'll be the same kind of as you've seen in the past. We'll have bagpiper Ron Husted out there to help us kind of commemorate that. And to honor those basically who made that ultimate sacrifice.
And the ringing of the bell, what does that signify?
Yeah, so back in the 1800s, when fire departments were formed, they had to have a way to communicate between the stations and to those that are around the station. And they used to do that through a ringing of a bell. And so we do a ceremony called the ringing of the 4 5s, and that's ringing the bell 5 times. Four times in a row. So ringing it 20 times. And for that was actually part of the fire department of New York did that to announce when somebody important had died. Mm-hmm. And so we feel that these people who've given their lives or had their lives taken on that day, we feel that they're very important people. And so we use that ceremony as a way to, give credit to them.
You bet. Well, thanks for joining us today, Chief. We appreciate it. And I know I speak for the listeners. We appreciate everything you folks do. You are all heroes. Chief Jarrod Wellik of the Newton Fire Department, come on out to the 9/11 ceremonies, 5:30 on Thursday afternoon. That's going to wrap it up for this edition of Out and About with Jamie Grout. This podcast also sponsored by Jersey Freeze in Monroe, Lynette Baker Halo branded solutions, Westside Java Coffee Bar, and Maid-Rite in downtown Newton, serving breakfast 7 days a week. Until next time, out is out. See ya.